Dear friends, when we pause and reflect on what has just transpired in the passion and death of our Lord, one of the beautiful realities that has come to light from the earliest of times is the role of the Blessed Virgin Mary in her firm faith amidst the afflictions of her Son. And so it's her faith that I want to briefly look at with you today. For in her we see a faith that is both unique and unshakable amidst the storm of our Lord's passion and death. During the passion and death of our Lord, St. Bernard points out that Our Lady was at peace and tranquil in her heart. Her hope in her Son's resurrection was unshakable. On that Sabbath, the faith of the entire Church remained in her alone. And we honor her on Saturdays, he says, for this reason. And so St. Augustine, commenting on this aspect, says that indeed the Virgin grieved over the unjust death of her Son. But at the same time, she firmly believed and trusted that once he had conquered death, Jesus would rise again on the third day as he had promised. Yet it is the constant tradition of the Church that during those 3 days, she alone safeguarded the Church's faith. And what do we mean by this? Because all the other friends of our Lord, whether it's John the Beloved, Mary Magdalene, they still loved our Lord for sure, certainly, but they lost the faith in our Lord's divinity. Our Lady alone in those tragic hours and storm, she alone kept the faith of the Church. And we can say our Lord himself, from our catechism, as we know, never had the gift of faith. Our Lord was true God and true man. And faith is believing those things you don't see. Our Lord had the beatific vision, and therefore he didn't have the faith. So Our Lady was the only one who kept the faith of the Church alive when everyone else had lost the faith in our Lord's divinity. And so it is for this reason, it's been the constant belief of the Church that after the resurrection of our Lord, the first person he actually appeared to was the Blessed Virgin Mary, before anyone else, as a natural reward to her faith. Our Lady did not, for that reason, go to the tomb with Mary Magdalene and the other women, because she firmly believed that her Son would come and visit her. Her faith then is a testimony to us in our times. She believed the words of the prophets, she believed the words of her own Son, and here is the important point. It's what St. John tells us. St. John the Evangelist points out that now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother. And here, commenting on this, our holy patron, St. Pius X, says that there stood by the cross his mother, not merely looking upon the dreadful sight, but even rejoicing that her only Son was being offered for the salvation of the human race. And so did she suffer with him, and had it been possible, she would have much more gladly suffered the torments herself. This is the motherly heart of the Immaculata. But in this, we can see that Mary is truly our model in faith and in courage. What do I mean by that? That she stood beneath the foot of the cross. And this is a point I can't emphasize enough. Our Lord did not expect his disciples to raise up an army against his enemies to defend him. Our Lord makes it very clear. He said, if I wanted to do this, I have a legion of, my Father would send me a legion at my disposal. In one word, our Lord could have in an instant destroyed his enemies. But what our Lord did expect of his disciples, those who loved him, and what he expected of his mother, is precisely what she did do. She stood beneath the cross with faith, with love and loyalty. And this was the sad thing. What our Lord expected from others, he found none excepting in Our Lady. The others, certainly, as I said, they loved our Lord, and John the Beloved, and Mary Magdalene, and many other people there, but they lost the faith in his divinity. And this is important for us today, because we live in a time where there is a storm both in the Church and in the world. And our Lord expects us to still remain faithful, firmly believing that he is in charge in the world. And that's important, because while things look difficult, the priests are still offering their Mass every day. And our Mass are no less powerful whether people are there, whether people go to communion or not. The Caesars of this world are not more powerful than God. No virus is more powerful than God. And all these things, they come and go. They're passing. But like Our Lady, we must be convinced of the power and the wisdom of God at work, and show it by our corresponding spirit. He asks us to be firm, to be silent, to be prayerful beneath the cross. And so must be our spirit, our conviction that our Lord is just as powerful, whether he's on the cross, whether he's in the tomb, or whether he's risen gloriously. It's still the same God. And this is precisely what our God expects of us on our part in these times, to be imitating that faith of Our Lady, which is brave, which is courageous, which is hopeful, but which is not having a vengeful spirit, which is not seeking a human consolation or a human solution when God's mystery is at work. And so, friends, let us ask with confidence that the Blessed Virgin Mary, most faithful, grant us an unwavering faith in these perilous times, that like her we may be unshakable witnesses of the resurrection of her Son, our God. Amen.